junior matches and divisions as well. So the competitions requiring the fitness tests in the community leagues, I'll start there first, are FQPL 3s, our under 23s MPL, our under 23s FQPL 1 men's and women's, and under 23s FQPL 2 men's and women's, as well as the advanced league spaces, which we touched on just beforehand as well. So what are the fitness test requirements for each competition level? Each competition level has a specific fitness test. So we're bringing back in the FIFA interval test. If anyone remembers the FIFA interval test, we're going back to that for the advanced league space there. And then for the community spaces, we have our dynamic yo-yo test, which is what we regularly do in previous seasons as well. There's no mandatory fitness testing for these below competitions. Okay, please keep that in mind. There isn't one for those below competitions. However, there is one for these for everything else. The fitness expectations. So if you're wanting to officiate FQPL 3, under 23 MPL, and so on that list there on the left, you are expected to get 18-1 on the dynamic yo-yo fitness test. Okay. That is the requirement to get to officiate that level of football. And for the FIFA interval test for the advanced leagues, the expectation is you get to category 2 on there. Category 1 and above is regularly the A leagues and the FIFA referees, but we're not at that level as we are just meeting the requirement of the category 2. This is what the FIFA interval test category 2 looks like, and I'll leave this on the screen for everyone to go through, but I'll also go through it as well. So as a referee, there's 2 lots of tests you need to do on the same night. The first one is the repeated sprint test. So you got 6 by 40 meter sprints that you'll need to complete in under 6.10 seconds. Then your test 2 is 10 laps, so 4,000 meters. That's 75 by 25 meters, which is 15 seconds by 20 seconds, which is a run and a walk. For the men's assistant referees, you need to do 3 tests on the same night. You'll have the coda, which you'll need to get 10.10 seconds or under. You have a repeated sprint test as well, so 5 by 30 meter sprints. And you'll have your test 3, which is the test, which is the 4,000 meters again, and the 75 meters by 25 meters, so 15 seconds by 22 seconds. And like I said, all components must be completed on the same night. We have separated with the men's and the women's as well. So the referee women's test 1 is repeated sprints again, 6 by 40 meter sprints in under 6.10 seconds. Test 2 is the 10 laps, 4,000 meters with the 75 by 25s. But the second differences here are 17 seconds by 22 seconds run walk. And the same as with the assistant referees as stated below. And like previously mentioned, all components need to be completed on the same night. So if you fail one of the components, you'll need to come back and you can do the test again, and you need to do all of the components again.
Brad, can you just run through what the CODA, a lot of referees have no idea what the CODA test is, the agility change of direction test?
Yeah, so it's a change of direction where you start in a standstill position. I'm pretty sure you run out, is it run out 10 meters, come back, and then you got to sidestep and come back? Is that the change of direction one? Was that the CODA one?
Yeah,
yes.
L10, sidestep 8, run 10.
Oh, there we go. Pez is there for it. Perfect, mate.
Thanks, Pez.
Cheers, Pez.
And Casey's also loaded up in the chat where you can find it and have a look at it.
Thanks, Casey. So where and when are the tests? There was an email sent out to everyone statewide back end of last year before we went on the Christmas break as well. I believe it was on the 19th or the 20th of December where we sent out the link for everyone to register for the fitness test. I would check your junk email. I'll check your inbox again because everyone would have had a fitness test email that would have come through as well. So I just see a question come through. The other regions such as, and I do believe I touch point that in the next slide as well, regions above SEQ as well, it will be based on the development officers that are in the regions. for when their fitness tests will be, their dates will be provided. But your season kicks off around about March as well, so there's a bit of time to prepare and also do those fitness tests. Whereas a lot of the competitions down in SEQ are beginning about 31st of January, first weekend of February as well. But I'll leave this on the screen here too. There are 3 opportunities for the interval tests, and there are a few opportunities within the SEQ region as well for the dynamic yo-yo test. And as stated below, just beforehand with the question that was brought up, they're all to be decided as well, the date for those fitness tests in the regions above SEQ. We just want to make sure we got the right venues as well sorted for everyone too. So what if you don't pass the fitness test? So what if you don't pass it? With the FIFA interval test, you'll be allowed 2 attempts to pass the entire FIFA interval test. So that's both components in the one session. So passed attempt 1, you'll be able to officiate. So you have the opportunity to officiate on the Advanced League and Community Leagues. And you'd finish the fitness testing, and no other fitness testing is required for that window. Attempt 2, if you passed on attempt 2, same thing. If you're unsuccessful on your first attempt, you need to redo the entire FIFA interval test. If you're unsuccessful on your second attempt, you're going to be required to do the yo-yo dynamic test. Okay, so from the yo-yo dynamic test that's there too, you'll have 2 attempts to do that as well. Okay, and attempt 1 is if you pass, you'll have the opportunity to officiate FQPL 3, under 23 men's and women's for MPL, under 23s FQPL 1 men's and women's, and under 23s FQPL 2 men's and women's. Attempt 2, again, same thing. If you're unsuccessful on your first attempt, you're going to need to redo the yo-yo test. And if you're unsuccessful on your second attempt at getting that 18.1, okay, you'll be officiating the FQPL 4 to 6, community divisional men's and women's and junior competitions as well. Got any questions about those, please pop them in the chat, and we'll also touch upon it at the end. So Football Queensland match official pathways. So we've sat down as well, and we've created something, and we want to implement a structure based on 3 areas of a match official.
Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
So I just have to
Let me
put in mute.
screenshot that one. Feel like that.
Please mute your
Okay, so we want to implement a structure based on 3 key areas of a match official's performance in line with the Australian officiating development schedules as well. So we base it around fitness and training, knowledge, and administration. So we'll start with the refereeing pathway, and what I'll do is I'll make everyone's life easy so you're not having to look at the screen. I do have, sorry, I'm just trying to drag and drop these into Teams. Apologies. So I'll drop the infographic in there for everyone to access. It's not playing nice tonight. Sorry, guys. Are you able to see if you can get that one there, Mark, at all?
sorry, mate.
I do think I gave it to you this afternoon. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I was typing a response to a question. I wasn't listening.
I've just got the infographic that's on the screen at the moment, just so everyone can zoom in on it. Let's drag and drop those ones in our chat.
Into the chat. Done. I will get onto it now.
I've just sent it to you on Teams. Sorry, mate.
It's all good.
Okay, so this is what we've created for this season as well, just to make it easy. And we've created, like I said, we'll be putting the infographic in the chat there so everyone can access it too. We've based it around numbers. So the numbers are also based on obviously what it was previously, being your old level 1s, your level 2s, and so on. However, they're now changed to the new conventions, which are starting at the bottom. We have our junior football match officials, our senior football match officials, our emerging match officials, and our advanced match officials. Okay. And from there, we also have our mini refs and our club-based referees as well, which will be implemented this year too. But you'll be able to move up this pyramid that we have here to develop yourself, not just within the fitness-based side. It's also within the education-based side. And I will touch base on eTrainU next week to hopefully give you guys a better understanding of how important eTrainU is going to be in you having your accreditation and making sure your accreditation is up to date, and it's up to date on eTrainU, because that's the database we'll be using as of current onwards. I'll need the other file dropped in there now, Mark, but I'll also bring it up on my screen. Okay, so like I said, we broke it down into our categories as well. So we broke it down into our competitions, as well as our classifications of referee and assistant referees, as well as our talent identification pathways too. Competition-based, all on the left-hand side there, and this is all going to be accessible for everyone to view on a PDF document. And this also gives you an idea of what qualifications you need to be required to officiate a certain level of football. So as an example here, the NPL level football, if you're wanting to officiate as a referee on the NPL level, you need to have your advanced referee qualifications to officiate on that level as a referee. As an assistant referee, you need to have your emerging assistant referee. Okay, your emerging assistant referee or your emerging referee or emerging match official on there too. For the other levels there, it's all based around this information here. I'll touch base on the fitness and training up next. I'll zoom in. So as we spoke about beforehand of what the requirements are for our referees and our assistant referees, this has got to match the level of refereeing too. So if you're a level 1 referee, but you don't meet the requirements of completing a category 2 FIFA interval test, you can still hold your level 1s, but it means you'll probably need to be doing your yo-yo dynamic and you'll be exposed to this level of football, but it won't mean we can't develop you up to then start officiating that level there too. As we've put on the form there too, failure to attend a referee fitness test will default your fitness level to a 15-1 as a referee, okay, which gives you the ability to officiate FQPL 4 and below, as well as community level football, senior divisional football, and the junior 2. The successful dynamic yo-yo covers your officiating duties unless you are assistant referee specific, in which you are required to pass the ARIAT test as well. We will have the ARIAT in there as well for our assistant referees, but that's only for assistant referee specific. You don't need to stress about that if you're completing the yo-yo dynamic though. To make it simple for you to complete a 15.1 on a yo-yo dynamic test, you just need to do 800 meters in 6 minutes and 41 seconds. It's 800 meters in 6 minutes and 41 seconds. And that number there, 15.1, is actually 15.1 kilometers an hour you'll need to run on that number there. If I'm correct, Troy. Troy's online, so you can correct me if I'm incorrect. We also have our attendance for training as well, training attendance here, which will be a data collection. We are creating an FQ Strava account. So everyone, if you've got if you don't have a Strava account, it's pretty simple. Most people have a either a Garmin watch, or we've got Apple Watches, Fitbits, anything that connects to the applications that are on your phone. It can all link to the Strava app, to which we can also have that data all located in one space as well. To which we'll then make sure if you aren't attending a training session that is held within your region on a certain evening as well, if you've done a training session either that night or the following night or the night after or so on, we also keep track of it. We're able to keep track of it for everyone too. Our knowledge-based stuff, this one is more in depth when we're talking about knowledge. Okay, so hopefully, and we'll touch base on it next week as well, is our preseason laws of the game update. And we'll go through the laws of the game updates next week too. But it's mandatory that all match officials that are officiating this year, okay, they need to complete that eTrainU preseason laws of the game update. All right, I know there's been a few emails that have come in the referees inbox, and I do believe we're trying to fix up for those that haven't got access to it. We're trying to get the access for eTrainU onto there, but we'll go through that and touch point on it next week as well. The convention, we're looking to have the convention next year too, at the back end of the season as well. And it is, like we said, for our advanced leagues, strongly advised for our officials to attend that. And everyone else is looking at about recommended to attend that. of our Laws of the Game and video quiz, which is a part of the preseason Laws of the Game update as well. And it should be at the back end of the Laws of the Game. It was pretty simple, guys. It should only take you, Laws of the Game update should only take you about 20 minutes to do, if that. And it's really simple. I ran through it with one of the NPL clubs at the back end of last year. And it was a really quick session for those guys and really simple to understand. Our statewide coaching, such as this one here, like we said, is mandatory for everyone too, which is why we're getting you to register online using that QR code and that as well. So we're able to keep track of everyone attending this. Active officiating throughout the season. To keep your qualifications, all levels, you need to have 5 matches per season. 5 matches per season through Squatty that we have. That's how you keep your qualifications, as well as everything else that's there too. And then the last thing we have, we're touching point on as well, is our administration side, okay? Administration side is about you guys sorting out your availability, your decline rates, your appointment confirmations, your match verification timeframe as well, okay? So if we're talking about availability, we prefer our advanced league space here to be 4 weeks out. 4 weeks out is what we expect, and these guys will be getting appointments about 3 to 4 weeks out as well, so they're able to work out their lives. And everyone else that's down here too, their availability, okay, in the community space, about 3 weeks out, 2 to 3 weeks out is perfect. The decline rate, we want to keep that decline rate throughout the whole season at 15%, okay, a 15% decline rate for the whole season. And your appointment confirmation, and I do believe it's changed now on the back end of Squatty, we could see whether or not you guys have just sat on your appointments, okay? So if you guys have received an appointment and have viewed it, but have not confirmed it and just sit on it for 2 days, if you reach this hour mark here, 48 hours, we're just going to take you off the game if you haven't confirmed it, and we'll just replace you, okay? That's how it's going to be, all right? So if you see the game, let us know ASAP, can you or can't you do it? And then the match verification time frame, it's really important if we have our match verifications after the game, they're as soon as the game finishes, or as we say here, we've got 12 hours post-match, especially for some of those late matches. I know on a Friday night and sometimes a Saturday, we've got those late ones, or as we got down here, 24 hours. Doing it 4 to 5 days after isn't really acceptable, especially if there's a red card that's been involved in a match. There are a couple of occasions where we had red cards come in, send-off reports come in 2 weeks after the send-off had occurred from match officials. Now, it's really difficult, especially if our competition team are trying to deal with suspensions for players and keeping track of that as well as making sure clubs are on top of it too, to make sure that their players are also correctly playing and are on the field at the right time too. Okay, there are a couple of cases where, and I'm sure everyone would be aware of, where some players were on the field but had been sent off the previous week, but because referees hadn't completed the paperwork, then it was a case of nothing was in the system and it was shown that they could play and were available. All right, it's really important we get that paperwork done and we complete that match verification at the end of the match. If it does not work in Squatty, put an incident report in, please. Please put an incident report in for the match. If you have a send-off report, there is a separate form we have for that too. Okay? So that's the referee promotion structure we're looking to do. And we also have, sorry, I'm just going to smash through this because we went through it on the PDF. We've got some examples so you guys can understand why we've put this referee promotion structure in place. So example 1 for referee A, prior to season commencement, referee A has their qualifications as a senior match official, and we put it at 3.2. For the fitness component, they attend the yo-yo dynamic fitness test at the start of the season and achieve 18-1. For the knowledge component, they've completed the Laws of the Game update requirements and attended all preseason online seminars, excluding the matchday coaching seminar, which is at the end of the month. They begin the season officiating FQPL 4 and have received 2 coaching reports, both informing competent at that level. They have also attended statewide online coaching, and their administration has been exemplary with less than 5% decline rate. Due to meeting the criteria of 18-1 on the yo-yo dynamic fitness test, referee A can be considered at 3.0 and can be utilized on appointments for NPL under 23s, men's and women's, FQPL 1 under 23s, men's and women's, and FQPL 2 women's, FQPL 2 under 23s, and the FQPL 3 level matches. So it develops them there as well. This is something where we've also, it's a lot it's a lot to take in ultimately at the end of the day, but it's also putting an emphasis on, it's not just holding us accountable, it's also holding our match officials accountable, making sure that the right officials are getting developed too across the state. So it's really important. They also do this in the UK, which is what we had a look into on the system too, where if they want to accreditate and move up a level, they've got to present all of the data to Football Association in order for them within their different conferences that they've got there, in their counties, sorry, for them to then step up to the next level as well. So we want to make sure you guys are keeping the data as well, and you keep on top of it so you can present it to us as well, and we can make sure we can develop you. Statewide Community League expectations. So for our community league match officials, the expectations, as per usual, arriving 60 minutes prior to kickoff in FQ referee kits, must transition to that Kappa referee kit. If you have not got the new uniform, you need to order it now. And I do believe it's all open now as well, on the Shopify. Tell me if I'm incorrect there. It's not open yet, Mark?
No, it'll be sometime next week.
Sometime next week. Okay. So be patient with that one, guys, as we prepare for that to open up next week as well. But we'll make sure to send an email out and a squatty notification out in
It'll
regards
come out
to that.
by a squatty notification. The shop is open.
Yeah. Okay. Availability must be updated in squatty 2 weeks out. Matches must be accepted or declined within the 48 hours upon receiving appointment. And the match verifications, as per usual, guys, send-offs, incident reports must be completed immediately post-match, not 5 to 7 days after the match is completed. Do you have anything else to add to those ones there, Mark, on the expectations?
I'll just let people know that the reason the squatty shop hasn't been open is we want to make sure that Kappa have the stock on hand so that when you order, you get the stock within 5 days. So that's why we haven't opened up the shop. So the expectation is and will be that you've got to have the new kit. That's across the state. So that's not a give. That's not a if or a maybe. It is a must-have. And if you spend 140, Kai, yes, if you spend $140, you get a free polo, but you must select the free polo. If you do not select the free polo, you will not get it. And
yeah, no worries. So $200 registration fee and then another $140 for the new Kappa kit. Is that correct? So we're $340 out before the season starts. Just want to clarify, I'm not picking bones. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. That's all.
No, you're spot on. For a senior referee, it's $200 registration and $140 for the kit. So you are correct. It's $340. In that registration process, you can actually put it on the pay away, which will take it out in components of what you set it at. I believe it's a 25% deposit. But then you can make a payment plan on it rather than $340 lump sum.
That's we go through the afterpay. That was all. I just wanted to clarify. Like I said, I wasn't trying
No.
to.
But
anything else. I wanted to make sure that those were the expectations, and that's where we're at moving forward with. So at least we can arrive at the ground. We know that our assistants and who we're working with, we all have the same gear. We all look the same. We all take the field to do what we need to do and look the part.
Correct, and it's important to also understand that if you've got multiple referees in the household, they've got to be separate orders. So it's for each order of $140. So if you've got 3 referees in the house and you bundle up $420 worth of referee gear, you'll still only get the 1 polo shirt.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Plus postage of $25.
Yes. That I think it's $20. I think it is at the moment. I think the set rate is $20, but that's a Kappa fee, not a Football Queensland. And unfortunately, we tried to negotiate that down, but we're unable to.
Right. Now we have our Advanced League match officials expectations that we make sure everyone statewide knows as well, as we do like to be transparent on that one there too. So our Advanced League match officials expectations are arrive at venue for their match 60 to 90 minutes prior to that kickoff. All match officials must be wearing the new Kappa kit, as we said previously before. Their availability must be in and updated in Squatty 4 weeks out. They've also got to self-assess and clip 2 matches per month. And their matches are going to be requested via a Microsoft Forms to be uploaded to Huddle this year, as we only have limited Huddle space for matches. Rather than uploading every single match onto Huddle, we're going to request that our Advanced League match officials request us to upload them to Huddle. Okay. If you have 4 matches in a month, then only 2 will be required of those 4. So please note all content has intellectual property of Football Queensland and is not to be shared to other social media platforms as well. Okay. There are some matches that are on YouTube. Unfortunately, because we can't transfer that to Huddle, as we'll need to download it from a multiple site, I do believe we'll just have to base it off on YouTube. And I do believe that's only really FQPL 2 that we have that issue with there, Mark.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
No, you're good, mate. I was talking about the uploads that they've got to do for the referees and the self-assessments they've got to do.
Yeah, it is FQPL2. Regionally, you can ask the clubs for the VO link, and we can then put it into the system regionally. But you need to ask the clubs to give us the link.
Yeah. There is mandatory attendance to all Advanced League match officials to the online Advanced League coaching nights. And the referee department will be tracking their training and coaching attendance and reflect in their appointments as well throughout the season. So, match officials appointment structure. Looks like I might need help with this one, Mark, as you're probably the best person to discuss this one with. This was made by a few of the department. I'll let you go through this one, Mark.
Okay, so what you see in the upward pyramid is the football structure as it stands currently. Is that you can see the pyramid going upwards. We only have 12 NPL teams, which is the highest level of football in Queensland. The bulk of our football is played FQPL 3, 4 and 5, senior divisional football around the state. However, Football Queensland wants us to appoint in a downward manner. So we have the bulk of our referees working downwards. Unfortunately, this does mean that as we head down the system, so if I go to Wide Bay as an example, Bundaberg will appoint to FQPL 3 first. That gets the bulk of the referees, which means there's less referees as we go down the tree. It also is the same for Whitsunday Coast, FQPL 3 first, and as we work down divisional football down to juniors. That is just a reality of where we sit with our referees. Currently, there are 30,000 games in Queensland a year. We have 1,650 referees to cover those 30,000 games a year. So it means that non-competitive football and the lower end of our football is sometimes the last place to get referees, which is one of the reasons which we've discussed with other clubs is why we've opened up a club referee program for the clubs to help us to fill those empty spaces. That's just the reality of where we sit with our referee structure and the number of referees that we have in Queensland.
Easy, quick, done explanation there, Mark. Thank you. Sorry, I just want to touch point on the previous slide as well. And thanks for bringing up there a couple of yous in the chat. Just going through the expectations of when we rock up to the venue. When we're arriving at the venue, guys, it's really important we're wearing our FQ polo shirts, our dress pants, and our dress shoes as well. Okay, we're not arriving in our gear. We're not arriving in our referee kit. We're not arriving in the kit we've just played in as well. If you've just finished the game you need to change it to your FQ polo shirt before entering the referee's room. You do not enter the referee's room in any playing kit. Do not enter the ref's room in any playing kit.
Just a little variation of that as we go north. There are some exceptions made for our junior referees that, given in different regions, they are allowed to wear dress shorts because it is a bit warmer as we head to Cairns. But our senior for FQPL 3 senior football matches, it's dress pants.
So I'm just seeing questions come through. We do understand. I do believe that's a fair question as well. Just talking about midweek games and Friday nights about 60 minutes before kickoff. I do believe there is a little bit of leeway as traffic does come into effect on those days as well. As long as you're not rocking up 5 minutes before kickoff and not stressing the referee team out, that'll be perfect. If you are running late, just let your ref team know, please. Send them a message on just send them a text message as well, and just let them know too. Okay, referee department structure. Mark, do you want to touch on this one, mate, or it's pretty simple to go through?
It's pretty simple to go through. Currently, many are aware that we're going through a restructure, that appointments will be done from Football Queensland for across the state. There will be a referee administrator and 4 to 5 full-time staff doing the appointments out of Meakin Park. There will also be an input from our regional staff as well. The referee development team sits as a manager, a senior officer. There are 3 new resources being provided to the referee space. Referee development officers that will be for Southeast Queensland, Central and Northern conferences. So the Northern Conference is Cairns, Townsville, Mount Isa, Mackay. Central is Central Queensland, Wide Bay, Sunshine Coast. And then we have SEQ, which is Darling Downs, Metro and South Coast. On top of that, we have 2 elite coaches, which are Misuk and Casey. And then we also will have our volunteers out and about in our regional areas. There will be more clarification coming out in the early parts of this year, exactly how that structure sits, but that's the change that we're coming into. But the important thing to look at is we have 3 new full-time staff coming into our regional areas.
Cool. Easy. I think we've I do believe we smashed through that one there tonight, Mark.
So what we'll do, Brad, can you go back to the second slide with the QR code?
Yep.
Please. There's a question about hats. I don't have an issue with people wearing hats in community football. We live in it's on the screen, the QR code's on screen. For me, we live in a state that is constantly in the sun, and we need to be aware of skin care and skin cancers. I will suggest that on different occasions, a peak hat versus a floppy hat. But I do not want to see in the evening games, we shouldn't be wearing a hat at night. These are for daytime processes only to keep the sun off. Okay. What else have I seen as questions?
The after hours number has been a question that popped up.
Yes, the after hours number will be the same, particularly in Metro. There will be a development more information to flow on that as we head back into the office. The Football Queensland office doesn't open holus until next Monday. The referees department has come back early because we've got so much to achieve this year with online sessions and coaching sessions and fitness tests. So we've come back a week earlier than the rest of the organisation. That's why we're holding off on some of the stuff. The referee notification of referee development officers will come out hopefully in the short term. I've asked for a clarification from Rob Cavalucci as to when we can release that information. Hopefully it will be next week at some stage. I think I answered that. We have 1,650 registered referees in Queensland, Clint. We will put together a tutorial on the Strava app, but basically it is an app that, Pez, you're probably best to explain this, that follows what you do and how you do it. It is something that is a public app and is open for other organizations, and the privacy is very loose in the Strava system. Is that a good way to put it, Pez?
Yeah.
So if you're loading something into Strava, it is there for public to see.
Ladies and gents, just with that, it'll be a closed group. It'll be a closed group. So yeah, you'll have to have permission access to get into it. But yeah, it is through their conditions. People will be able to see it from a different organisation's perspective.
So it's a closed group to the referees.
Do you want me to talk about it, Mark? I can explain how it works. I use it all the time with groups.
I don't know who's talking.
Gary.
No, Carrie, we'll cover that when we actually load it up and send it out. We'll cover the how-tos on it, and we'll send it together so that we don't get bogged down in one area tonight. You keep activities private. Online sessions. What's being responded to? Can you wear cap at night if you're wearing glasses? My honest opinion is there's no real need to wear a cap at night, is my honest opinion. There are exceptions to every rule, but my personal opinion is caps are unnecessary at night, hats are unnecessary at night, is my opinion. Sessions.
Sorry, someone's just come forward with the preseason games rules of competition, guys. So rules of competition are based on the 2024 rules of competitions and the 2024 laws of the game, okay? Because that's what they're using. It's not the new one just yet. It's only when the new season properly rolls around do we then go into it as well. If you've got a mixed league, say for example you've got an NPL team versus an FQPL3 team, it's the NPL team's rules of competitions that you'll be using. So most of the time, those competitions there, if you've got an NPL team versus an FQPL3, okay, there is no sin bin. There's no sin bin in those ones.
Fiona, yes, I agree. Hence, I said there are exceptions to the rules of wearing caps at night. The laws of the game, really important to remember. The laws of the game come out mid-season for us. It's new season for Europe. Laws of the game are only to be used, the new laws of the game are only to be used when a new season kicks off. Pre-season games are not a new season, okay? The new season starts for some of the auxiliary competitions on the 31st of January for the advanced leagues. And then they'll vary from the 2nd of Feb through to the middle of Feb, through to the end of Feb. Most competitions, I believe, will be up and running by March. There will be changes made to junior competitions specifically over the Easter weekend. So over Easter, there'll be a redraw done to grade the teams correctly.
The requirements that you have to bloody do.
There will be a redraw done over Easter and then another competition put together. I'm not sure. I've got a hand up for Archer.
Yep, Mark, Brad, can I just clarify? You said the sin bins weren't done for certain levels. Obviously, up here in Cairns in the far north, we apply the sin bin rule for all our team matches. I just want to confirm that moving into the new system, we will be applying the System B, temporary dismissals for some cautionable offences, which is a player who receives 2 cautions in the same match is sent off, even if one caution or both cautions are for a temporary dismissal.
So what we will cover this next week in the Laws of the Game update, but you are correct. Sin bin is only, or dissent, sin bin is only for dissent, and it is only to be used for the first caution. Okay, so sin bin can only be used for the first caution. If a player picks up a second caution in a game, a second yellow card, that now equates to a red card.
Yep, that's fantastic. I just to clarify, obviously, that was all.
Yeah, we'll cover that more for next week. That's part of next week's conversation.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the other questions? Sin bin. So the only in community football, sin bin applies to every level of football from FQPL 3 down. Okay. It applies in the advanced league to the under 23s, but not the senior football. The logic for the laws of the game changes. It is, as IFAB have put it, it is for the start. It's not my decision. It is the start of a competition. You cannot change the laws in the middle of a competition, and pre-season is not a competition per se. It is only regular season for laws of the game. That's IFAB, not me. The point of pre-season is to educate. As we're running around with the players, we can educate as to what is coming. A lot of the clubs will not be aware of the changes of laws for pre-season. So as referees, we should be educating the players as we go along with our pre-season games. Rather than sending them off, let's educate. That's part of our role as referees, is educate, not just punish. Lucas, so yellow dissent are now the same as yellow card. Yes, you are correct in what you're saying. Yellow dissent is now a standard yellow card. The only difference is they sit down for 10 minutes across the board. Ref 6 is not. No, I've never made a statement about Ref 6 not being allowed. If referees choose to use Ref 6, that's fine. The challenge is, and I've seen this happen to referees when their watch dies and they lose all of their notes from the game. I don't mind referees using Ref 6 as long as they keep their records correct. Level 3 courses, have a look at the Football Queensland website. There are a multitude of courses listed across the state. Brad, can you drop in the link for the courses page?
Yeah.
Mark, I just had a question that I asked before that wasn't answered. I have a game that was appointed to me for a pre-season match on the 18th. Due to that, I haven't received my black polo. So am I to wear a red polo from last year, or
wear what you've got?
Okay, and I've just so I've emailed in regards to that thing, black polo. Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously this is for season proper. We're saying it's got to be black polo, and as soon as the shop opens, then jump in and get it. I would not expect everyone to have it for pre-season, but I expect everyone to have it for season proper. Oliver, can you please send us an email in respect to your kit? Just going through the questions, Brad.
I will just say, a lot of like the level 3 courses and that up in Northern and Central as well. Once the once the region's development officer is appointed, we will be able to start setting those dates, and they will be prior to the season commencement. Like I said, the season commencement for you guys up in Northern, for example, is back into February, early March as well. So we've got a bit of time to play with, and we can lock in some dates for those as well prior to the commencement of the season. Unfortunately, we can't do an online session, but we are currently, Football Australia is transitioning into the window where they can do your online modules, and then you do an in-person session, which will be about, was it 3-4 hours, Mark?
4 hours.
Yeah.
There's a question from Craig in respect to wearing SPARM's undergarments. We're not exempt from the laws of the game. Our undergarments, whether you're wearing SPARM's or whether you're wearing long sleeve, have to match the colour of your sleeve. Okay, we're not exempt from that. We ask our players not to do it. We need to do the same thing. If you look at Process Sport, they've got a whole list of, or had a whole list of stock, long sleeve, short sleeve undergarments that matched exactly the referee kit. And I think on memory, they were about $25, $30 a shirt, if I remember correctly, but don't hold me to that number.
Greg, can I take your last comment as saying that there has been a referee development officer appointed for the Far North?
I believe there's been an offer made.
So an offer made to the employee.
Excuse me?
An offer made to the potential employee, is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. No, that's all. It's just, we're kind of left steering a ship here without a rudder. It's I'm sure, as you're well aware, Mark, I know you know people like Bill and Remo and that we are in an isolated area, and I hate to take over the state meeting that probably has a lot of people from areas like Brisbane and Sunshine Coast and the like that don't appreciate the struggles we have up here in terms of a lack of development or education or support is all. So it's exciting to hear that there could be someone coming into the position. Yeah,
I get it completely, and Seamus, and my expectation is that individual, those individuals that are appointed, as a minimum, spend a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and at least the following training session on site with the referees in every region, is my expectation of those RDOs. But as you can fully accept, Queensland's a large region to try and get round.
Oh, 100%. I mean, coming over from New Zealand, as a state, we're larger than an entire island. We have states over there. So, for someone that's obviously come from an area smaller than the state we're in, with several federations involved, I understand the struggles faced across a range of things. And like I said, I don't want to take away from this meeting. And I understand, look, we're at the 1 hour mark and I'm probably rambling on, but yeah, it is tough for us up here, and there are a lot of really good people and a lot of really good volunteers and referees that are trying to do the right thing and put back into the game. It would just be nice to know we had support from the federation and moving forward and seeing like pathways for those that want to really progress through that ladder.
Yeah, there are, if you ask Neffy, there are some very good pathways that are available, and Brad and I, Casey and Misuk, are very much on, and it's not just your being Cairns, it's outside of Southeast Queensland, full stop. We want to try and focus heavily this year on the exchange of referees and the growth of referees, and give our regional referees a greater opportunity to experience different football across the state. So that's a goal that Brad, Casey, Misuk and I have, to try and develop that further. So, mate, I fully understand where you're coming from, and it's a legitimate question. So for you guys, I think there's an offer being made for the Northern. I think there's an offer being made for SEQ. I'm just not sure whether there was an offer made for Central yet. And Brad and I don't have that answer right at this moment. So we just don't know about Central at the moment.
No,
Greg,
Mark, really appreciate that. I'll sign off now. keep my
Not a
microphone
problem.
mute.
Thanks, Seamus. Yes, I do believe, Greg, that the new referee kits will be through the Squatty Shop. What Christine and I are waiting for is whether it will be through Squatty Shop or another system that we have called Shopify. I just don't know. That's why I can't tell you whether the shop is open yet. We're just waiting for that confirmation. Yeah, so Process Sport did have a special for the 3 shirts.
The Referee Academy stuff, there's a few of the Referee Academy questions coming through, guys. You'll be filled in with information soon. The Referee Academy stuff, this is probably not the right place to be asking questions about that either. But if you could send through an email to us, we'll be able to answer those questions for you. Thank you.
And you'll see there is a link for the Process Sport for the undershirts. And I see that there is stock for if you want to buy those undershirts that match our kit completely.